Hello everyone. The charity of the month this month is Prostate Cancer UK. They fund research that will stop men dying from prostate cancer. If you'd like to support Prostate Cancer UK with me, there's a link to them in the description. I live in a beautiful seaside town. Me and a group of my friends, who were probably 19 or 20 around this time, we all went to school together and all grew up together, so we had a great bond. Because we all lived in this same town, typically once or twice a week, we'd all go for walks along the coastline. It's a beautiful stretch of land, and if you look out towards the sea looks boundless, and particularly at night time, when you're watching the sunset, it looks like you're in a movie. You slowly see the orange sun setting just behind the blue sea. It really is scenic, and to be honest, it's one of the things that makes me love where I live. Especially at night time, this is the best time to walk along the coast, as it's a little bit cooler and there's less tourists around. Where I live's a little bit of a tourist trap, and there's so many people that come here from all around the world. But anyway, me and my friends, probably 3 or 4 of us, decided to go for one of our occasional walks along the coastline at night time. We know this really cool spot on this giant rock that we can just watch the sunset. It's right next to this cool shop where you can get candy and sweets and chocolate and drinks and whatever else. So I opted to get a slush puppy and my friend got some cokes. We sat up on the rock and just watched the sunset. Oh, just as a side note, I forgot. We got those amazing donuts too that you only get at seaside towns. If you know, then you know. The sun's gone down probably 2 or 3 hours ago and we're still chatting away. It was one of those really good conversations where you kind of just forget about time, and when you do realise what the time is, you kind of have a moment of panic as you don't realise it's that late. So we split off in pairs and decided to walk back home. It's probably around 10 or 11 PM, but at this time of day in the country I live in, it's completely dark. So we're slowly walking along the coastline. All I can hear is the wind and the sea crashing against the coast. It's really beautiful actually, and it's actually a really therapeutic sound. That's when I see some people right ahead of us. They're all wearing black and hoodies, and I can't really see what they're doing. All of a sudden I can see people pointing and shouting, but as it's so windy and the waves are so loud, I can't make out what's being said. All of a sudden, I see one of them point towards us, and they all start making a beeline for us. Me and my friend decide to react quickly, and because we know this area, we decide to run back in the direction we came from. We start running, and we head towards the pier. I don't know what these people want from us, and I don't know if it's people we know or a group of people that are trying to rob us. Being this late at night, I'm pretty certain it's not the first option. So we jump over this wall down into the sand, and we get sand in our shoes and all over our legs, and we decide to head to right underneath where the pier begins. Now, if you've ever seen a pier, you'll know that it's got plenty of wooden beams, and typically these wooden beams aren't yet in the sea until there's a high tide. So we climbed over the beams and we hid behind this rock that's right underneath the pier. At this point, the people have caught up to us and don't seem to know where we've gone. I can hear them now, and they're definitely not our friends. These people are talking about trying to rob us and take our possessions. I can't remember exactly what they said, as I was kind of in shock and my heart was beating out my chest. But I specifically remember hearing them talking about robbing our possessions. Now, this is one of the most suspenseful moments in my life. I can hear them searching around the area we're in as we're hidden behind this big rock, pressed up against it, trying not to show any body parts. At one point, I hear someone walk directly on the other side of the rock we're on. If they jumped over, they would almost certainly have seen us. I hear the footsteps on the pier above us too. We're trying to be as silent as we possibly can as we hear footsteps walking around directly above where our heads are. If we look above us, we can see shadows and then sudden glimmers of light as their feet are shuffling around the boards above us. This is absolutely the most terrifying thing that's ever happened to me. Now, eventually they left, and I don't know what direction they headed in, but we left it a good 20 or 30 minutes before we headed out. My friend called their mum and asked them to meet us outside the pier, which they did, and we explained what happened. We decided we'd never go for one of our walks that late again, as it just wasn't safe. I don't know what those people wanted, and I don't know why they chased us, but I'm so glad they never found us behind that rock. I don't want to date myself too much, but I'll say that this happened when I was in my 20s, and my 20s were way before the 90s, so do with that information as you will, but I've always lived in this really small town in America. I'm not the most popular person either, so I never had that many friends. I'd have little small interactions with people where I lived and would say hello and how are you, but I never really had any real friends, I would say. Looking back on my life now, it kind of makes me sad. I feel like I've missed out on so much and so many good experiences that I could have had. I didn't even have a girlfriend until I was in my very late 20s, so as you can probably tell, I was a bit of a loner. Now, where I lived was, to be honest, a little bit run down. I used to go exploring on my own in the woods quite often, and I would make friends with the animals and wildlife around there. Now, looking back now, I know how weird that sounds, but I genuinely saw these animals as friends to me. They were always there, and I could always depend on them. There were these deer that would always be in the woods, and I loved seeing them. Now, obviously, I would always keep an eye out and not go out too late at night, as I know that weird things can happen in weird places, but I was never too scared to be alone in the woods by myself, with just my thoughts and the occasional animals that I'd pass. To be honest, I would even bring food out to the woods for the animals and leave it in the same spot at the same time, pretty much every day, so that they knew that I was there. Now, I decided to go a little bit further into the woods one day. Now, when I say woods, these aren't thick woods. There's sparse trees with not many leaves on them for miles and miles and miles. No one really goes here, and to be honest, I don't ever recall seeing another person out here. Just the animals. So like I say, one day, I decided to go a little bit further out and take a route that I didn't know very well. That's when I encountered this massive wooden house looking thing. I say looking thing because it was kind of a house, but it kind of wasn't. It was completely covered in wood, so you couldn't see the inside, and shaped almost like a slanted pyramid. This thing was huge and looked like it'd been there for years. I'd never gone this far out, so I'd never seen it, but there were no cars around. Not that they could get them through the woods anyway. There was no sign of any life, no tools, no nothing. Just this man-made structure in the middle of nowhere for absolutely no reason, apparently. Now, I want to try and describe what this place looked like, and a slanted pyramid probably isn't necessarily the best description, but have that in your head for now. So, as I walk up, you can see that there's probably 20 feet of wooden panels going all the way upwards. So I walk towards it, and the shape kind of looks more like a rectangle with a slanted point on the top, all made out of wood and kind of in the shape of a cabin, if that makes sense. Now, I know this probably isn't the best description, and I'm trying to think back to many, many years ago, as I say, but this is the best description I can think of. Now, I decide that, being a little bit of an explorer, I want to head inside of this place. Part of me was a little bit scared, as I don't know what's inside, and I don't know who owns this or who built it, how long it's been there, why is it there. I had a lot of questions, but I wanted to know. So I try and find an entrance. I walk all the way around it in 360 degrees, and seemingly there's no way in. This completely stumped me, so I decide to just walk around again and try and figure out a way in. Again, 360 degrees all the way around, nothing, no way in. Now I'm stumped. What on earth is this thing? So I decide to take some steps backwards and try and figure out if there's enough. As I step backwards, I feel something hard hit my legs and I fall backwards, completely losing my balance and my legs going up in the air. I look down at my feet and try and figure out what on earth it was that tripped me up. That's when I see a lever to what looks like a door. I sweep away some dirt and some rubble and some leaves, and I realise this is the entrance. There's a little wooden square door on the floor. Now when I say door, it's kind of like a little hatch or trap door, if you know what I'm talking about. I don't really know the name of them. I lift it up and it goes straight down, probably around 6 foot, and then I can't see as it goes forwards. What do? I think to myself. Do I jump down, not knowing what's in here, who's in here, what this thing was made for? Screw it, I think to myself, going in. But as I start to climb in, I think to myself, I have no light source. I highly doubt there's going to be anything in there lighting this place up. So I climb out, close the door, and head back home for the night. All night, I'm tossing and turning in my bed, wondering what's in that damn place. Anyway, I decide the next day I'm going to head back and figure out what on earth is in that place. So I prepare. I get myself a torch and I head back to the woods the next day. Around the same time of day, I arrive back at the house. Now, when I say house, I don't know what to call this thing. It's kind of a hut, kind of a house, kind of a cabin. I don't know what it is. It's like some weird kind of abstract art design. I open up the hatch and I jump down this little hole. This thing wasn't very wide, so whoever made it can't have been very big. I turn on my torch and I start heading towards where the house is. Either side of me there's wooded panels that seem to be holding this place up. It's kind of like one of those really old fashioned mines, if you imagine that, but just really narrow. That's when I get to where I think the house should be. And nothing. There's nothing here. It's a dead end. I'm so confused. Why can't I get in this place? What's here? So I'm completely spooked out at this point and realise that maybe someone's made this to try and trap you. So I head back and climb out really quickly. I close the door and head back home again. All the way home I'm trying to figure out what's going on and keeping an eye out to see if anyone's following me. I have no idea what this place was built for or even designed for, but I really need to find out. So it gets to night time and I'm lying in bed trying to figure out how I'm going to tackle this. Do I just break in and get an axe and smash the wall down and get inside? Screw it, I think. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to break a wall down and get in. I need to know what's in there. That's when all of a sudden I look out the window and in the distance I can see some smoke. This smoke must be in the general direction of where this hut is, and that's when I realise there's a fire. I put my clothes on and my coat and head down to the woods again in the middle of the night, trying to figure out if this fire is coming from the hut or not, or if it's just a random forest fire. I don't know, but I need to find out because I can't go without knowing what's in this place. I get to where the house is and from the distance I can see that it's on fire. Nothing around it's on fire, just this building. Just this weird abstract house burning in front of me. Someone must have known that I was in there. Something must have been going on in there and I have no idea what, but they definitely didn't want me to see it. I keep a distance and try and figure out what's going on. I don't see anyone and the place is just on fire, burning in front of my eyes. I can smell the smoke and it's making me feel a little bit sick. I decide to keep a distance because why was this place being burnt down just after I found it? It looks like it's been there for years. Why all of a sudden would it be burnt down? I decide to head back home and mind my own business and realise maybe I've gone a little bit too far this time. Maybe I put myself in danger. Fast forward to the next day, I decide that I'm going to take one more walk down there and keep my distance again. I arrive, and to my sadness, the place was burnt to the ground. There was nothing left apart from lumps of ash and pieces of burnt wood. This place was clearly burnt down on purpose. Thankfully, nothing around it caught on fire. Like I say, there weren't too many trees around, they were fairly sparse, but it was still a fairly wooded area. So I'm quite happy that nothing else caught on fire and it didn't spread, but I'm absolutely devastated that I didn't get to see what was inside of this place. What was it built for? Why was there this door that led to nothing? Why was it hidden? Why did this place look so old, yet I'd never seen it before? I had so many questions that I know now will never be answered. That night, I head back home and go about my life as usual. This is the first time I've spoke about this to anyone. I'm still a bit of a loner, I don't talk to anybody. I have my usual encounters with my postman and the people in the local shops, but apart from that, I don't really speak to anyone. This is the first time I've told this story. I still have no idea what that thing was. I have no idea who built that house, cabin or hut, whatever it was. I have no idea of its purpose. I have no idea why there seemed to be a little door that led to nothing. It creeps me out. I have no idea why it was there, and I never will. But yeah, after all these years, decades, I decided to finally share this story. This happened around 5 years ago. I'm a 25-year-old female, and I live in a house by myself. Now, I rent this place, and I've lived here for a few years now. To be honest, it's kind of ideal for me. It's close to my work, and probably only a 5-minute walk. I have things like a local gym and a shopping centre near me, so I'm pretty much set. I don't love living on my own, but I don't hate it either. It's one of those things that I just accept in life, and to be honest, I'm just used to it at this point. Anyway, every single night I make sure I close my blinds and I lock all my doors and close all my windows. I do that because I'm massively scared of being broken into, particularly me being on my own. So every single night, out of routine, I make sure I do this. However, this one night I forgot to do that. I was so tired from work, and I'd been lying in bed, and you know when you have those moments where you're lying there and you just can't be bothered to do anything. I knew I needed to get up and close my blinds, but I just couldn't be bothered. What's the harm for one day anyway? Well, I end up falling asleep pretty soon after that, probably around 9:30 in the evening. I know it's not very late, but like I say, I was exhausted from work. I wake up and I see this silhouette on the edge of my window. Now, my eyes are so blurry from waking up, I can't necessarily tell if it's my brain making things up, or if I'm having a lucid dream, or if there's actually something outside my window. I wipe my eyes, and it's gone. That's weird, I think to myself. It must just have been my brain playing tricks on me. So I get up at this point, because I haven't brushed my teeth yet, and to be honest, I hate falling asleep and not brushing my teeth. It makes me just feel so horrible and grimy. I get back to bed, and I try and fall back asleep, but I can't. I am tossing and turning, and I'm getting over hot, so I decide that I'm just going to go and get myself a drink, and maybe that will help me get to sleep. So I get myself a glass of water, and I down the entire thing. I get back in bed, and just lie there for a moment. I'm lying there probably for around 15 minutes, just occasionally flicking through my phone on low brightness, and trying to just do anything to get my brain to switch off. I know that being on your phone isn't necessarily the best thing to get you back to sleep, but when your mind's tossing and turning, sometimes having a focus can really help get me to sleep. Anyway, I see this silhouette out the corner of my eye again. I'm starting to panic now because I'm definitely wide awake at this point, and there's definitely something there. There's no way that's my brain playing tricks on me now. I lie as still as I possibly can and pretend to be asleep. All of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I can see this silhouette slowly moving across to the centre of my window. I turn my head slightly and try and get a better look, and what I see is the outline, or once again, the silhouette of a person pressing their face against my window, both of their hands covering the outside of their face as if they're trying to block the light out so they can see inside my house a little bit better. This freaks me out massively. My heart is pounding and I don't know what to do, so I just remain still and hope that there's no windows open. The man stays there looking for what feels like an eternity, but eventually he does leave. And as soon as he does, I shoot up out of bed, close my blinds and make sure all the windows are shut in my house. Thankfully they are. I didn't want to call the police because I didn't have any proof of what happened, and not that they'd believe me anyway. Nothing's happened since, but I don't know what this person wanted. Being alone on my own scares me enough, but the thought of someone breaking in and doing whatever scares the life out of me. I'm installing some security cameras, and I've let the neighbours know too, so they're going to keep an eye out anyway. My message to anyone out there who lives on their own is to make sure you always close your blinds at night, always close your windows, and always lock your doors. Make sure you're safe. Install security cameras if you need to. Make sure you have quick access to a phone if you need to call for help. My advice to all of you is to stay safe out there, and make sure your safety comes first. It's been a while now and nothing's happened, but I'm still terrified that this person's going to come back, and who knows what they want. Hello everyone, this is the part of the video where there's no more stories, so if you're only here for the stories, then there's plenty more on my channel, and plenty of other channels out there that narrate stories much better than I do. But if you're here for the conversation, then that's what I'm here for too. If you can hear any background noise again, and if you could hear it throughout the video, that's because I'm sitting in the notorious windy spot where there's loads of wind, and it's quite nice at the moment in the summer, but I think in the winter I'm probably not going to sit here because it would be freezing. I actually recorded this part of the video. I did about a half an hour recording for this section of the video, and I listened to it back and I thought to myself, Jesus, this is boring. This is really, really boring. And even for me, like, it's just me listening to myself ramble on about things that I found interesting at the time, and even I found it boring. So I decided that I'm going to re-record it. It doesn't bode well for what's coming up here, but oh well. I'm actually really enjoying doing these rambles at the end of videos, and I think you guys seem to like it too. Actually, it's the thing I look forward to most at the end of my videos. Hence why I'm having to re-record this bit, because I spoke for 35 minutes about biscuits, sharks, Kit Kat Chunkies, and food. I think for 35 minutes I spoke for about that. What a load of drivel, boring drivel. No one's going to want to listen to that. So it's still going to be pretty. I'm probably going to talk about the same stuff, but I'm going to try and make it a little bit shorter, hopefully a little bit more interesting, because Jesus Christ, even I was genuinely, I was thinking this is like watching paint dry. This is proper boring. So yeah, my plan is to make this a little bit more interesting. But I honestly, every single time I turn this microphone on, my throat starts to betray me and I need to cough. So sorry if I need to cough a couple of times. I don't know why it's doing this. I think it's because I've just eaten. Actually, if I'm completely honest, because I know I give you little diet updates because I'm trying to be a little bit more healthy. I wasn't great. I had I went to McDonald's just to meet my friend, and I only planned initially to get a Coke and a McFlurry. So that was the plan, but obviously, as per usual, they say the McFlurry machine is not working. But I ended up getting 9 chicken nuggets as well, so that wasn't great. I got home and I had an apple because I felt guilty, and I just realised that's more calories. It doesn't cancel it out. It just means I'm having more calories. But oh well. I had they were amazing nuggets as well. Do you know when sometimes McDonald's they had it really fresh? It was good. It was really good. They were really crispy. But yeah. Oh, I mean, by the time the next video comes out, you'll probably have heard. But I think I accidentally drove in a bus lane, and I think I'm gonna get a ticket. I really don't want to get a ticket. It's because I drove to meet my friend who I hadn't met in a while, and he lives in a different town to me, a town that I haven't really driven in much, and the lanes are really weird, and I just didn't really know exactly where I was going. I knew the rough idea of where this McDonald's was, but I wasn't like certain. And I was so focused on trying to figure out where the McDonald's was that I just briefly drove in a bus lane, which isn't great. So I hope I don't get a ticket, but yeah, you'll find out. Anyway, what was I going to talk about? I've decided that I'm not going to talk about Kit Kat Chunkies, caramel Kit Kat Chunkies. It was amazing. That's why I was talking about it, because it was really good. But no, I'll talk about what I want to talk about actually is irrational fears. Do you guys have any irrational fears? First of all, to start with, comment down below, what is your fear? Do you have any fears that are rational? Like heights, I think that's a rational fear. Do you have a fear of... I suppose failure is a fear, but I'm talking like physical things you're scared of. Spiders. I am petrified of spiders. I absolutely hate them with a passion. And I understand they're good for the ecosystem, but there's something about a spider that triggers something in me. I don't know why, it just does. I hate them. I really do. I hate how they move. I hate how they look. I hate how if you look at them like close up, they've got 8 eyes and hairy legs, and they're just big fangs. Awful things. So what is your irrational fear? Are you scared of... I don't know, you tell me. And to lead into that, I actually wanted to talk about... I went to the beach around... when was it? About 3 weeks ago now. And I went in the sea, and I've never had a problem with the sea. But I got in and I thought, I don't like this. It's freaking me out a little bit. And do you know what it was? It was the fact that you couldn't see to the bottom. Actually, let's go back to the start. Walking in the sea, I didn't have those unfashionable beach shoes you can get where you like, it looks like someone's just stuck a plastic bag on the bottom of your feet. I didn't have those, which would have been handy because they stop you from like when you're treading. So if you take a step into the sea, you'll be treading on a sharp rock. You take another step into the sea, you've got some sludge between your toes. Take another step, you're treading on something slimy. That's what I really didn't like initially. And then when I got into the sea and I started swimming, I couldn't see what was below me. I could feel things grazing my leg. I just didn't like it. And I always think to myself, what if there's a shark in here? Even if I'm in a place that I know there's no sharks, I always think, what if there is? And it just wasn't a relaxing experience. Like, people always make out like swimming the sea is like this really relaxing, peaceful thing you can do, but you've got jellyfish you can encounter in the sea, and I hate jellyfish. I really hate jellyfish. They're not as bad as spiders, I'll give them that, but they're just horrible things. And it's just not relaxing swimming the sea. And yeah, so what is your irrational fear? I think my irrational fear is definitely spiders. There's no reason to be scared of them. I live in England. The scariest thing in England's a fox. There's nothing here that's really that scary. But I'm scared of spiders. It doesn't really make sense. Regardless of the size, I hate them. Also, in other news, you can see why I had to re-record it, because even this is quite boring, isn't it? But I'm enjoying it. Yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Well, this for some reason I know it's a recurring theme on this channel. I don't particularly know why it's a recurring theme, but the whole notion of seeing people or objects in clouds or in toast or in a waffle, and you know that I think it's a load of old rubbish, but the day after the Queen died, someone posted a picture, or a few people posted the same picture from different areas, of a cloud that looks like the silhouette of a older woman wearing a hat, and people were saying, "Oh, it's the Queen." And I'm not gonna. That's a stretch. It didn't look like the Queen. It looked like an older woman wearing a hat. So I'll give them that. That's a little bit spooky. So fair enough. I'm happy to be proven wrong. That kind of did. But if you've ever seen anything in a cloud or in your mattress, tell me. Tell me if you've actually, like, do you know what I mean? If you've genuinely, I don't know, put some cheese on your toast and it looked like Jesus, or it looked like, I don't know, I can't think of a single person now. Looked like Joe Rogan. Tell me. Show me a picture. I want to see it. Send it to me on Twitter, because I'm happy to be proven wrong. Do you know what else is another one of those things I was thinking of the other day? Is because someone said it to me actually. Is I think this might be a little bit of a controversial one. I think a bit of an unpopular opinion, but I have never understood when people say, "Ah, oh, there's a newborn baby," right? And people go, "Oh, it looks so much like the mum," or "It looks so much like the dad." No, it doesn't. It looks like a baby. I have never once in my life seen a baby that looked like the parent, the mum or the dad, or the uncle. Not the uncle. They look like the mum or the dad or the grandparents. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I've never seen that. And the thing is, when people say actually you have to pretend as well, you're like, oh my god, wow, it does. It never does. Never. Like maybe the eyes are the same colour. That's as far as the comparison goes for me. It doesn't go any further than that. I have never in my life looked at a baby and gone, I can point out the mum right now. Like, that is the mum. Like, if it's happened to you, send me a picture on Twitter. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I've never once had the experience where I've gone, Jesus Christ, that is 100% the mum of that child with a newborn baby. Never. Maybe as a child they start to sort of look more like their parents. Never as a newborn baby. And I just hate having to lie to people. I hate it. It makes me like squirm. I hate it when they're like, "Oh, doesn't he look like the dad?" Oh yeah. No, yeah, I've just never seen it. But anyway, I had another thing I was going to talk about on here. What was it? Oh yeah, I was wondering if you guys would like to see a video on space. I'm really interested in making a space video. I'd really like to, but I just have to think of a topic. I want it to be one of those more like educational kind of ones that that is actually factual, and maybe it's based on a theory. I don't know, but just something interesting, you know. Maybe it could be. Do you know what I'd love to make a video on? Is exoplanets. I think that'd be so interesting. So if you'd like me to make a video on a newly discovered exoplanet, let me know, because I would love to make one. Yeah. What else did I plan on talking about? To be fair, I never plan on talking about anything really. Sometimes during the week, I actually think, do you know what? I want to talk about that at the end of the video. That's something I'd love to talk about with people, but I always forget. I always forget. I've got like a sieve brain at times, and it just goes. It's like one thing goes in, one thing goes out in my brain sometimes. I don't have much capacity, I think, at times. It's weird. I think for me it's weird. There's certain things, I don't know if other people experience this. It's like, if someone asks me to do something really complicated, something that's really difficult and you shouldn't be able to do easily, I'm fine with it. I can do it. Then you could ask me the most simple task in the world. Someone could go, "Oh, go on, close that window for us." I'll mess it up. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the pressure of something being easy. It's like, why can't you do that? Do you know what I mean? I don't know if it's like the anxiety around like, oh, that should be easy. I don't know. I think it's like the pressure of something that should be really easy that I struggle with. Whereas something hard, there's no pressure. It's just like, if you can't do it, you can't do it. And I thrive in that environment. But yeah. Oh, sorry, my microphone just cut out then. But do you know what I did want to talk about is the Turkish delights I've been eating recently. They're amazing. I hadn't really ever had them, and I started going to this. I think I've told you guys about this shop that's just down the road from me, and they sell all the food that you can't really get in the UK. Like it's all like normally when you go abroad, you can get all different flavors of things that you can't get in England, and the shop's just got everything that you can't normally get in other supermarkets, and it's amazing. They've got all like, do you like if you get like a Dr Pepper or a Tango or a Fanta, you can get like strange flavors, like a bit obscure ones. They've got all that kind of stuff, and it's so good. Like I've been trying so many different things from there. There's all different like crisp flavors, just all different kind of food, and it's so nice. So I bought some baklava from there. I wasn't too keen on baklava. I think that's how you say it. But I bought some Turkish delights as well, and they are incredible. They're kind of like better jelly babies, if you ever had a jelly baby. But yeah, that's my little food update from that shop. I'm just going to keep up. Do you know what? This part of the video, I'm just going to keep updating you on the food that I buy from that shop, because the shop's amazing. Shout out to the shop. But yeah. I don't really know what else I plan to talk about. There was one thing. Okay. I want to ask you guys a question. I don't know why I said if. What is the best investment you've ever made? So it can mean investment in the broadest terms. So for example, it could be, if you invested in stocks or shares or something you thought would do well, and it did do well. Or it could be, did you buy a pair of shoes 10 years ago and you're still wearing them because they're great quality shoes? What for you is the best investment that you've ever made? I'm really interested to find that out, actually, because I love that sort of thing. Do you know when something you meet someone, you're like, oh, where'd you get your coat from? They're like, oh, I've had this 500 years. Like, no, I've had this like 15 years. Like, and I think, good on you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I like it when people make use of things. I think there's not enough of that nowadays. Like, if something's broken, you just throw it away and buy a new one, don't you? You don't really fix things. Like, I saw someone the other day who like patched up their coat and stuff. I thought, yeah, I like that. Like, fixing something. Like, nothing wrong with it. Just fix it. So, do you know what I did? I've been wearing I always try to make the most of things that I buy. I don't just buy something and like just wear it once and throw it away. I like to wear things until they go a bit like, do you know when things go a little bit tatty and you think, okay, fair enough, it needs to go now. I like to get to that point. But normally, for some reason, I don't do that with my shoes. Shoes, they get to a point where they start to get a little bit grubby, like they might smell a bit. They're a little bit just not great. I thought, you know what? I'm going to thoroughly clean these shoes. And I did, and to be fair, they're almost as good as new. They've got a couple of little like rips. I always seem to get rips on the heel of my shoes. I don't know what it is, but yeah, pretty much good as new. So that's my little win for the day. That was, I really what was that noise? See, I get a little bit creeped out at night. I always hear noises outside my window, and normally it's just like some foxes, or I mean, to be fair, I live quite close to a busy road, so there's sometimes people passing by. I had a bit of drama the other day. Not the other day, I don't want to say the other day either. Sorry, I'm tired. This is like years back. I don't know why. I do not have a clue why I said the other day. It was not the other day. This is like when I was in school. I remember I had an exam. It's so typical as well that it was just before I had a really important exam at school, and I was like, I really need to get some sleep. So I was asleep. I got to sleep at a good time. I got woke up at 4 in the morning. This is weird. This is really weird. I could hear shouting. I thought, what on earth is that? So I've looked out my window, and I can hear two people arguing. So they're like in each other's face. I can't figure out what they're talking about, but I recognise one of them because he lives down my road. And I was thinking, what are you up to? And they're probably shouting in each other's face. I was thinking, 4 a.m. What are you arguing about? What's happened? But they both walked in the opposite direction, right? Then one guy come back, and it was like a Tekken duel. And the guy had come running at him with a plank of wood over his head and was swinging a plank of wood, trying to hit this guy. And this guy was dodging like the Matrix. It was unbelievable. Like, this is like samurai stuff. This guy was dodging, and then someone else ran outside and was like separating them and calmed it down. But I was always interested, like, what would have happened if that person didn't run out? Would you have just lumped him with a piece of wood and knocked him out, or what? I don't know. I have no idea what that argument was over to this day. It was years ago. It was just a strange one. Like, and I couldn't get back to sleep because I was thinking about it. It was, honestly, Joe, like in your dream, like you'd think like, oh yeah, like it was like sort of like slow motion as well, like the way he was dodging, like in his dream, like dodging everything, like ducking and weaving. I've never seen skills like it. It was really impressive. Even to this day, I still think about it sometimes, and I see the guy. Like, I'm always tempted to like say to him, like, well, that night, when you were like getting absolutely ridiculed by this guy doing these Matrix dodges, what actually happened? Because I don't want to ask him, because he got embarrassed, really, didn't he? The guy was mugging him off. He was he was proper swinging, and this guy was, it's just good. It was just impressive. But yeah, I'm always tempted. So maybe one day when I see him quite a lot as well. He's always outside. I don't know why he's always outside. I think he's outside more than he's inside. But I might ask him one day. I say it's sort of person, right, that I don't know if I could, because Joe's sort of person you say hello to and you're friendly with, but you're not that friendly that you would sort of have a full-on chat with them, especially not about some fight they had years back. But sorry guys, once again my microphone cut out. But I think I was talking about the fight I saw years back. But yeah, I always think when it comes to fights, it's always best, if you can, just to avoid an altercation. There's no real winners, is there, in that sort of situation? Because one person's going to end up getting hurt. Maybe if you hurt someone, you can end up getting yourself in trouble with the police. If you don't have to fight, if you don't have to defend yourself, it's always best not to get involved, isn't it? It's always best not to have one, just to walk away. I suppose I've never really been in fights, though. I'm quite a relaxed person. I'm quite laid back. I've never really had problems with anybody, or not to the point where I'd have a fight with them. But I think when people are in that situation, especially when it's a situation that can't, it's not your fault and someone just starts on you, I think it's always best to know how to defend yourself. That's why I think sports like boxing and martial arts are so good, because especially self-defense, because I think it's such an important skill to learn. Because when I read these stories sometimes, I think just having that sort of I think sometimes when you've been around martial arts clubs or that sort of environment, you're anticipating things. You can read the cues of what's about to happen, especially in an altercation. I think it can be so beneficial to people just to know, right, if this person moves this way or starts to do this, there's a chance they might try and hit me. If they try and hit me, I need to do this, or I need to move back or run, or I can do this and get away. I think it's such a useful thing to learn. I think it's so important for people to learn how to defend themselves, just in case it's just in yourself that you'd never need it. You'd never start on someone, but it's whether someone does something to you. And I think That's why it's so important when people say to me like, oh, I do I don't know, even just karate or boxing or Muay Thai. I think good on you, because you know, you never know when you might need it. And I think it must give you such a confidence to feel like if something does happen, no one's going to get hurt. Realistically, if someone can really handle themselves, no one's going to get hurt in the situation. Someone can get taken down, and it will just end there. So I think it's always good to learn some kind of self-defense, just in case, you know. But yeah, I've rambled on about a lot of random topics here, haven't I? Yeah, if there's anything you'd like me to narrate, or anything you'd like me to talk about, let me know in the comments below. The charity of the month this month is Prostate Cancer UK. Obviously they do great work funding different projects, and I think it's one of the causes that's really close to me, because I know some people that have suffered from prostate cancer. So it's something that I'm really passionate about, and I think it's such a great cause, and they do really good work. So please check them out. There's a link in the description. As always, I've donated my own money, and I'd love it if you guys would check it out too. Let me know what charity you'd like to see next month. Ideally, I think we've done a few cancer ones recently, so maybe something a little bit different. If you have anything different, it could be wildlife, it could be homelessness, it could be a natural disaster, anything. Leave some suggestions of what we can check out next, and yeah, let me know what you'd like to see for the next charity of the month. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and this bit at the end. But yeah, thanks a lot, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.